Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 10.1B. I've entitled this video, Climate Diversity of the Andes and Mid-latitude Countries. This video is going to cover pages 301 to 304. Climate diversity. Climate is part of a region's physical geography. The varying mountains, plains, and other landforms in the Andean region and mid-latitude countries of South America mean that the region's climate is extremely diverse. The effect of altitude. The main factor that determines climate in the Andes is altitude, or height above sea level. The higher the altitude, the cooler the temperatures are. This is true even in the warm tropics. Conditions in the region can range from hot and humid at lower elevations to freezing in the mountain peaks. Question number 1. Why is the climate in the Andean region and the mid-latitude countries extremely diverse? Because of its physical geography, such as the mountains, the plains, and other landforms. Number 2, what does the word altitude mean? That means height above sea level. Number 3, as the altitude increases, what happens to the temperatures? The higher the altitude, the cooler it gets. So the higher up you go, the colder it becomes. Farming is a challenge in the rugged Andean region. Farmers have successfully terraced the hillsides to grow crops such as potatoes, barley, and wheat. And here you can see what terrace farming is, and it gives you the benefits of terrace farming. So feel free at this time, if you want to pause the video so that you can fully understand or better understand what terrace farming is. And over here we see another example of terrace farming from a different angle. Question number 4. What farming technique have the Andean farmers used to be able to successfully grow crops in their tough location? They've used terrace farming. Visitors to the Andes may find the altitude at the higher elevations hard to handle. Oxygen is thin. This results in heavy breathing and tiring easily. The region's inhabitants are adapted to the thinner air, as are various native species of plants and animals. And here you can see how the oxygen levels decrease as you go up in altitude. And then I thought this was a neat infographic. What happens to you as you go to higher altitudes? Notice you sleep less, your blood becomes thicker, you have to pee more often, your breathing becomes faster, your heartbeat is faster. A lot of things happen when you get higher in altitudes. Question number 5. What happens to people as they go higher in altitude in the Andes? Well, they have a harder time to breathe, and they get tired faster because the oxygen is thin. Mid-latitude variety. Climates of the mid-latitude countries of South America are quite different from the Andean region. These countries enjoy a generally temperate or moderate climate. In Uruguay, for example, the average daily temperature in the middle of winter are a mild 50 Fahrenheit to 54 Fahrenheit. In midsummer, the average daily temperatures reach a comfortable 72 to 79. There is no wet or dry season. Rainfall occurs throughout the year. Inland areas, however, are drier than the coast. Argentina is much larger than Uruguay and includes a greater variety of landforms. As you might expect, Argentina's climate is extremely diverse. It varies from subtropical in the north to tundra in the far south. Northern Argentina has hot, humid summers. Southern Argentina has warm summers and cold winters with heavy snowfall, especially in the mountains. Paraguay presents yet a different climate. Paraguay is a landlocked country. The climate is generally temperate or subtropical. Strong winds often sweep the Pampas in Paraguay because the country lacks mountain ranges to serve as wind barriers. Climate extremes. Extremes of climate can be experienced in the Andean countries without changing latitude. Altitude is all that has to change. The climate changes tremendously in the Andes from the lower to the higher elevations. The Tierra caliente, or hot land, is the land near sea level. And you can see that pictured right here, or down here, depending on which graphic you want to look at. The hot and humid conditions do not change much from month to month. In this zone, farmers grow bananas, sugarcane, cacao, rice, and other tropical crops. Question number 5. What are some characteristics of the Tierra caliente, or hot land region? Well, in these regions, it's hot and it's humid, and the conditions don't change much from month to month. And in those areas, you can grow things that you might expect in South America, things like bananas and sugarcane, rice, and other crops that grow in tropical conditions. From 3,000 feet to 6,000 feet, the air is pleasantly cool. Abundant rainfall helps forest and a great variety of crops grow. This zone is the Tierra templada, or temperate land. It is the most densely populated area. Here, farmers grow a variety of crops, such as corn, coffee, cotton, wheat, and citrus fruits. Question number 7. What are some characteristics of the Tierra templada, or temperate land? Here, the air is pleasantly cool, it's got plenty of rain, and a wide variety of crops can grow there. And it is the most densely populated area, so it's the area that is the Goldilocks zone, if you will, the place where most people want to live, the Tierra templada. Higher up, the climate changes. This is the Tierra fria, or cold land. It extends from 6,000 feet to 10,000 feet. The landscape is a combination of forest and grassy areas. Farmers here grow crops that thrive in cooler temperatures, including potatoes, barley, and wheat. Question number 8. What are some characteristics of the Tierra fria, or cold land? Well, here it's much colder. It does have a combination of forest and grass, and here crops that grow better in colder temperatures are the ones that thrive, like potatoes, barley, and wheat. The land at the highest altitude is the Tierra helada, or frozen land. Here above 10,000 feet, conditions can be harsh. The winds blow cold and icy, and temperatures fall well below freezing. Vegetation is sparse, and few people live in this zone. I certainly would not want to live there. I do not like the cold. No, thank you. El Nino and La Niña. Every few years, changes in wind patterns and ocean currents in the Pacific Ocean cause unusual and extreme weather in some places in South America. One of these events is called El Nino. During an El Nino, the climate along the Pacific coast of South America becomes much warmer and wetter than normal. Floods occur in some places, especially along the coast of Peru. El Ninos form when cold winds from the east are weak. Without these cold winds, the central Pacific Ocean grows warmer than usual. More water evaporates and more clouds form. The thick band of clouds change wind and rain patterns. Some areas receive heavier than normal rains. Other areas, however, have less than normal rainfall. Question number 10. How does El Nino impact South America? Well, it can impact South America by making it much warmer and wetter than normal, and it could even cause some flooding to occur. Question number 10. Well, what causes El Nino to happen? Well, what happens is cold winds from the east are weak, and without those cold winds, it makes the Pacific Ocean water grow warmer than usual, and that means more water evaporates, which means more clouds form, and of course more clouds forming means more rain, and the cycle happens. And you can see a picture over here, a normal year and what happens, and then you can see an El Nino year of what is happening. Scientists have found that El Ninos occur about every 3 years. They also found that in some years, the opposite kind of unusual weather takes place. This event is called La Niña. Winds from the east become strong, cooling more of the Pacific. When this happens, heavy clouds form in the western Pacific. And we have for this one, question 12, how often do scientists say El Nino occurs? About every 3 years. And then the last question, question 13, what is La Niña? This is the opposite of El Nino. This is when the winds from the east become strong, cooling more of the Pacific, and that forms heavy clouds in the western Pacific. Well, thank you so much again for watching. Before we go, we have a meme, and I'm going to try to do my best Yoda voice. Here comes the cringe.
El Nino impact strong will be.